are going to unbox and set up the Giro MK II turntable from AMG. To get started, make sure you have a clean workspace with plenty of room for the turntable, as well as room for setting aside various parts and tools which will be needed during the course of installation. The Giro comes in a compact 16-inch cube shipping box. Open the top and remove the protective foam layer. We highly recommend that you retain the box and all foam packaging material. In the top layer, you will find the instruction manual for the turntable, as well as one for the tonearm. You'll find the box that contains your tonearm, which will either be the 9W2 or 9WT tonearm. Today we will be setting up the 9WT turbo tonearm. You will also find a pair of cloth gloves that can be used to protect the turntable from scratches during assembly. These are optional but recommended, although you will see me using my bare hands in this video. You will also find a pouch containing the belt and the spindle grommet, a 3mm T-handle Allen wrench, which is used for leveling the turntable's internal spike feet, the standard 12-volt power supply and IEC power cable, and finally, the reflex clamp. We recommend that you take out all these accessories and set them aside as you unpack the turntable. For now, I'm going to reach in and remove the whole layer of foam that they are sitting on, so we can quickly show you what else is in here. Be careful if lifting out the whole layer in this way, as it's actually two separate pieces of foam. The next layer contains the platter. Similarly, I am going to reach down and remove the layer underneath the platter for the sake of saving time. Again, as you will see, this is two separate layers of foam, so be careful that the platter doesn't slip out. Finally, at the bottom of the box, we find the plinth. This we will take out and place on a level surface to begin assembly. The turntable has an attached power supply receptacle, which should be routed out and around the back of the turntable. Looking on the left side of the plinth, you will see a protective felt ring between the plinth and the top of the bearing. Pull to remove this felt ring and set it aside. Next, we recommend that you level the plinth using a standard bubble level or a round spirit level, such as the one shown here. There are 3 holes in the top of the plinth that allow you to access and adjust the 3 spike feet. Use the provided 3mm Allen wrench for this adjustment. One hole is located in the front, near the AMG logo. Another is located at the rear of the plinth, near the armboard. And the last is located to the extreme left of the plinth, near the bearing. Turn the wrench to raise and lower the feet until the plinth is level. The next step will be to install the belt and platter. Make sure you have a soft surface that will not scratch the platter, as you will need to stand it on end to install the belt. Carefully stand the platter on its side with the bottom facing you. There is a groove in the bottom of the platter which the belt will wrap around. With your left hand, pinch the belt between your thumb and forefinger. With your right hand, loop the belt around the built-in groove, ensuring that it sits evenly and tightly. Next, slide your right forefinger under the loop of the belt that you are still holding onto. You're essentially switching hands at this point. Using both hands, gently tilt and lift up the platter, holding it flat, and prepare to place it onto the plinth. Make sure that you don't let go of the loop of belt that you're holding onto with your right hand now. Gently place the platter over the bearing. The loop of belt that you're holding onto should be oriented so that it goes around the motor pulley. Once the platter has fully seated, you can release the belt. Turn the platter gently by hand in order to allow the belt to seat itself on both the motor pulley and the platter groove. Take a look from the underside of the platter to make sure the belt is still seated in the groove. For the next step, we will power up the turntable and test that the belt and platter were installed properly. Locate the 12-volt power supply and connect the single-pin power jack to the receptacle cable which we routed around the back of the Giro. Then, with your IEC power cable attached and plugged into your AC mains, hook it up to the 12-volt supply. The 2 speed selection buttons on the Giro should light up red. Press the button to select 33 RPM. The light will switch from red to green, and the platter should start spinning. It should spin silently and with no visible wobbling. The next simple step is to place the round plastic spindle washer around the spindle. Now that the belt, platter, and power supply are all installed and working properly, it is time to move on to tonearm installation. We'll start by taking a look inside the box that contains your tonearm. The 9WT tonearm comes with a number of tools and accessories. In the foam cutout on the left, you will find a plastic bag with Allen wrenches, a metal locator bar, which is used in the alignment process, and some extra screws and hardware. Not all of the items in this bag will be used in a basic installation. You will also find a small metal ring. This is an auxiliary lightweight counterweight ring, which may be used instead of the heavy ring installed on your counterweight. You will also find 2 AAA batteries. These are for the electronic stylus force gauge and need to be user installed. To the right of the stylus force gauge, you will find the alignment gauge, which can be used to set the proper overhang during cartridge installation. The counterweight is located on the right side of the box. It comes with the heavy auxiliary ring already installed. This can be removed by loosening the built-in thumb screw, replaced with the smaller ring, or left in place depending on your cartridge's mass and tracking force. Finally, we will remove the tonearm. Pull out the small foam block at the base of the arm stem and set it aside. Hold the finger lift near the head shell with your left hand, and with your right hand, grip the anti-skate adjustment mechanism and gently pull the arm out. Holding the arm by these 2 points will prevent any stress or damage to the bearing. Unwrap the rubber band from the head shell and carefully remove the plastic bag protecting the head shell lead wires. Before installing the arm, familiarize yourself with the VTA locking knob, which extends from the back of the tonearm. This is the adjustment that will lock the arm in place by extending a small screw head that will press against the inside of the mounting hole. Notice that if you turn the knob clockwise, the small black Allen-style screw head will slightly protrude from the bottom of the arm stem. If the screw head is extended before installation, you will not be able to slide the arm into the mounting hole, so be sure to first turn the VTA knob counterclockwise, then press the screw head in so that it's not sticking out. One more step before attaching the tonearm. Prepare your tonearm cable by routing the DIN connector up through the bottom of the arm board. At this point, you can connect the DIN connector of your Phono cable to the bottom of the tonearm. If using an AMG branded cable, align the connector as shown and press firmly. Now, slide the tonearm into the mounting hole of the arm board. Leave about ½ inch or so of space between the arm board and the bottom of the anti-skate mechanism, and tighten the VTA locking knob. Loosening the knob will allow the arm to move up and down. With the locking knob tight, now turn the VTA height adjustment knob clockwise. This will cause the foot at the bottom of the mechanism to extend. Keep turning until the foot comes into contact with the arm board. At this point, if you loosen the locking knob, the arm can no longer move up and down, although it can be moved from side to side. You can now use the adjustment knob to fine-tune the height of the tonearm. Once you have the height you want, fix it in place with the locking knob. Next, set the anti-skate adjustment to the middle setting, which is a medium setting that will work well with the majority of cartridges. For this setup, we will not make further adjustments to Antiskate, but we will dig deep into that topic in a future video. The next step in the setup process is cartridge installation. The 9WT Tonearm has a removable cartridge mounting plate, which attaches to the head shell with a thumb screw. You can mount the cartridge directly to the arm without removing the plate if you prefer, but for this video we are going to remove it by completely unscrewing the thumb screw and setting it aside. The plate has two guide posts and is shaped to match the contours of the head shell when installed. In this video, we will be installing a Benz Micro Ruby Z cartridge. Place the mounting plate on top of the cartridge, with the curved side of the plate facing forward. Attach the plate with the screws provided by your cartridge manufacturer. Take care not to over-tighten the screws. Replace the mounting plate, now with the cartridge attached, to the head shell. The plate should locate easily with the two guide posts in the center, allowing the plate and cartridge to slide back and forth. Use the thumb screw to reattach the plate. For now, place the plate in the middle position of the head shell and tighten the screw. Next, attach the four color-coded leads to the corresponding posts on the rear of the cartridge. You can use needle nose pliers, tweezers, or your fingers. Ensure that the connections are secure. If the leads do not fit snugly on the posts, gently squeeze them to ensure a tighter fit, as loose-fitting leads can cause noise and other issues. Next up is counterweight installation. As mentioned before, the 9WT Tonearm comes with two different sized optional auxiliary rings that can be used to accommodate a wide range of cartridges, depending on their mass and their required tracking force. For the Benz Micro Ruby Z, with its medium tracking force and medium mass, we will use the lighter ring. For this video, I've prepared a counterweight already with the lighter ring installed. The lighter ring can be attached with a thumb screw or with the extra hardware mentioned earlier. This one is attached using the extra hardware, a simple set screw which can be tightened with the provided Allen wrench. With the thumb screw at the front of the counterweight slightly loose, slide the counterweight onto the back of the tonearm. For a rough starting position, push the counterweight on far enough that the back of the tonearm stub is visible and more or less even with the back of the counterweight, as shown. Lightly tighten the thumb screw if you wish, although we will fine-tune this again later. To prepare for alignment and tracking force checks, first rotate the tonearm so that the head shell is at the correct distance from the platter. Loosen the VTA locking knob and turn the arm so that the head shell is roughly halfway between the AMG logo and the control buttons. At this time, also set the height of the arm to the halfway point as indicated on the VTA adjustment knob's gauge. Tighten the locking knob again when you get the arm into the correct position. If you haven't already done so, put the batteries into the electronic stylus force gauge and place it on the platter and turn on the gauge. Some cartridges, like the Benz Micro Ruby, have extra strong magnets and as such can cause small fluctuations to the readings on the stylus gauge, but once placed, the reading will stabilize and will be accurate. As you see, the measured tracking force here is over 2.5 grams, which is too high. So we will slide the counterweight back slightly and then recheck the weight. You may need to adjust this a few times. Take your time, as proper tracking force is the most critical setup parameter for both sonic performance and cartridge longevity. Now we will set the tonearm height. Do this by placing a record on the platter and attaching the reflex clamp to the spindle to hold the record down. Then, cue the arm down onto the stationary record. With the stylus sitting on the record, check the built-in level at the top of the tonearm to ensure that the bubble is centered between the two lines. If it is not, cue the arm back up and then adjust your arm height accordingly until the bubble is centered. Cartridge alignment. We will use the provided alignment gauge which is specifically built for the AMG 9WT Tonearm to set the overhang of the cartridge according to Baerwald geometry. In the bag with the extra hardware, find the locator bar, which is a smooth metal rod a little over 1 inch long. Place the alignment gauge onto the platter as shown. Find the small hole near the back of the head shell and carefully slide the locator bar through the hole. Then lift up the tone arm by hand and position the alignment gauge under the head shell in a way that will allow the locator bar to slide down between the guides at the back of the gauge. Cue the arm down, and the bar will hold the gauge in place. Use the crosshairs that are etched into the gauge as a target for the stylus. Adjust the head shell mounting plate, sliding it forward or back as needed until the stylus lands directly onto the crosshairs. After you have adjusted the overhang to the correct position using the alignment gauge, don't forget to remove the locator bar from the head shell. The bar adds about 1.5 grams of downforce when installed, so you don't want to play a record with that bar still in place. After making any changes to arm height or cartridge alignment, always double-check tracking force, as these adjustments can cause the force to change. We now recommend that you check the tightness of all the various thumb screws near the back of the tone arm, including the 2 screws for azimuth adjustment. We will not address azimuth adjustment in this video, as we do not recommend it as part of a normal setup. However, we do recommend that you check that the azimuth screws are tight, because using the arm with these screws loose can result in damage. Next, get your favorite record, place it on the platter, tighten the reflex clamp as instructed in our other video, turn on the platter, drop the needle into the groove, and enjoy your new turntable.